as well.
Okay.
And then also, Eric came up with another good idea with when you purchase a membership that you will get a small button to show that you are a member of the Glenside Color Computer Club. And he can also show that to you as well. We had 50 of those made up so far just to see how they come out. I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. And it sounds like Grant wants 50 more, so we'll probably order 50 more of these guys.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, how many do you think we should order, Jim? I mean, what's the average number of members that actually show up? Do you know anything off the top of your head from past?
Uh, uh, I'm trying to remember. I'll look how many like lanyards I purchased last time, but
Yeah.
I mean, last year was a little bit of a slow year. I think there was only 70 or so folks, and I think in previous years there was over 100 people that came. So we might
Yeah.
want to do 125 or maybe even 150 if you're planning to give one to everybody.
Are these all for members or attendees?
These will be people who purchase a membership, $15 membership, or for their vendor.
And showed up.
Yeah, and showed up. That's correct.
I
So
mean,
when you get your packet,
in the
when you get your
past,
packet, it'll have it in there.
showing up made you a member. So not everybody who shows up this year is going to be a member. So
That's
that's
true.
not.
So maybe 75 or 100 is a good number.
Yeah, I was thinking 100 would probably be a good number.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like we don't want to run out, so I think 70, 100, that would be good.
And what's the
And
turnaround
this
time on
is
that? So do we need to know 2 weeks, you said? So if we wait till like
this took
April,
3 days, 3 days
okay.
to get to my door. So I'll order them right away. I mean, there's
Well, I
no.
think maybe we ought to wait till April because I should have some better numbers by then, by all the
Yeah,
registered
then we
people.
can order, yeah, a specific amount. And then this is what the gift cards look like. They're made out of paper,
Okay.
quite fancy.
Okay. Cool.
And again, those would be like gift certificates, so it's going to be used for the door prize. What we're going to use those for.
And I figure what
Okay.
we'll do is when the vendor cashes them in for the value, I'll just void it, and then whoever won the gift card can take it with them as like a little keepsake.
And then for presentations, we are not having any problems finding people who want to talk at the fest. So, so we are doing very well on that end of the front right now. So in fact, actually, we might have to adjust the schedule a little bit because we're filling that up pretty quickly.
Okay.
So and then other than that, that's it on my end. Anybody have questions or concerns or?
Rich here. Uh, I am willing to be the sign-in person again this year, and I think maybe you should give some thought to exactly what my responsibilities are with all the things that are different this year from last year. Um, do I print up receipts ahead of time as I did before to go in the packet? Do I print up dinner receipts? We've never actually used the dinner tickets that I've printed because there was nobody at the dinner to check attendance. And maybe that's the preferable thing, just to have it be on the honor system. But I still think I should print up a dinner ticket for anybody who managed to plunk down $20. But any other details you can think of that might be different from last year, let me know in plenty of time.
Yeah, the only thing I think we might just need is somebody to make sure they can print out badges for people who show up at the show. That's going to be the big thing.
Yeah. Is somebody else other than me taking care of all the badges for people who have pre-registered?
I would
I
believe Jim
will.
Brain probably will.
Yeah, I'll take care of, since the printers are here, I'll go ahead and take care of putting badges together for everybody who is um, pre-registered. But I think we need to put a deadline, maybe the like pre-registrations in, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday of the week because I'm going to be traveling to Chicago on Thursday night. or Thursday afternoon or whatever. So I won't be able to do it Thursday. I'll probably be packing Wednesday, and so I'm not sure I want to be printing badges on Wednesday. So I think Tuesday is probably the last day that I'll be able to print before I have to start packing stuff up. I might be able to do it on Wednesday, but I'd probably prefer to do it on Tuesday. So I'm thinking pre-registrations, either we want to do something or somebody needs to tell me, like, put a list together of all the pre-registrations that happen by Tuesday, and then um, get me another list once I get to like on Friday, we could finish printing up the rest of them, I guess. I'd like to do some of them though before we get here, in case, Bob made a good point last year and said, if you've got something, you need to have two of them in case one breaks. So I bought two printers, which is good. But be my luck, both printers break and I have to work on them on Friday or whatever. So I'd like to print up as many of them as I could before I drive out.
And that reminds me, Salvador has been working on our badges, and just out of curiosity, how did those turn out last night? Did you print one up by chance?
I have not. He had to give me some different stuff, but you might want to show the graphic might want to share the graphic and show it, so folks
Yeah,
can see
unfortunately,
what
I'm not
it's.
on my computer right now, so I don't know if you have
Do you
one.
have it in the drive or?
No, but I can share it. I'm at home now, so give me a second to find it. Give me 1 second here. Badge image. Here we go. Let me save it off here so that you guys can see it. Kind of on the spot here, so give me a second. Desktop. Okay.
I think it looks pretty good myself.
Yeah, I think, obviously I needed some. Okay, so here is the badge. Let me see if I can share this thing. Share something. What am I going to share here? Well, you know what? I'll put it over here in this screen, and you guys can just see it right here. Let me just pull it over here.
And just let you know too, Jim. I plan to be in Chicago on Thursday as well, so I can help you.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know who. Okay, so there. Let me see if that showed up. Anybody see that? So obviously
Yeah.
the background is not, but you can see the, huh?
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Yep. So obviously this is the first draft. I had to have him take the black letters off because that has to be done as another part of the print. But and then of course I think the white area down at the bottom is where the name goes. So currently this is what it looks like.
Yep, I think it looks really good.
That's that. Let me see. Stop sharing. Okay. So yeah, I think one of the things I would ask is if there's going to be folks there on Friday. We have access to the room, or we have right of first refusal for the room on Friday. But I last year I was there Friday, and I think Eric was there. A couple folks were there, but nobody really got there until noon in the first place, which is okay. I don't see a need to open up the room at 8 o'clock in the morning if folks aren't going to trickle in until noon anyway. So if you can maybe come up with a schedule that makes sense, that can have some people actually there, then we'll make sure that the place is open at the appropriate time.
Okay. I think as of right now, I have it set to open at 5 o'clock, but we can open up early if we need to.
Well, that's true for exhibitors, and that is true. But for the club, we got there early and moved some tables around and
make sure everything's in order. Make sure.
And I think Steve and some of them came in the early afternoon and started working on the AV stuff or whatnot. So the room will be open prior to 5 o'clock for those kinds of things, but it only needs to be open if somebody's going to be there working on stuff.
Okay. And then the only other question I have is for Randy. Do we have a status update yet on the membership purchasing?
We were ready to release that this weekend.
Awesome.
That feature.
I thought I would give you some time to get over your loss a couple weeks ago for the Super Bowl.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah.
I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling. You guys did it to us.
Yeah. Should be the same team next year, so hopefully they keep it up. I want to address what Rich was saying about the door stuff. I don't know if we want to get into it during this meeting, but maybe we should have a separate meeting that talks about the whole process, because I'm still a little confused. I know we're going to allow people to come in and be for free, but will we require them to check in? And because at that point, that's when we could capture information. That's when we could log them. That's when we could sell them a dinner. That's if we just allow people just to walk in without checking in, then our numbers aren't going to be right either. We're not going to know who all attended.
Yeah, I mentioned in an email to both you and Grant, I feel like it's a requirement that we know at the very least how many people attended, so that we can, we get an idea of like what the venue size is and what kind of foot traffic we got, and there's just a whole bunch of things. And a lot of people want to know, like Saturday night. I know the most previous fest, or the most recent previous fest, Saturday night there was a ton of people online on Facebook or whatever and said, hey, how many people showed up today and whatnot. So that's a metric that's a big deal, just like how much money did the auction generate. So I do think that I don't believe that we should just have people walk in. I think we should at the very least get the information so that they can get a badge and we can mark them as being
Right.
present or somehow. I really do believe that we need something. I think the key is, how much information, and for that, yeah, I do think you should take that offline, and maybe you and Grant and whoever else is interested in it should talk about.
Well, I mean, this would be a little different for Rich too, because Rich is used to using his own system, and what he would be using is a modified page on Tandy List, where he would be looking up people and basically going through the registration process, a simplified version that normally people would do ahead of time, where you add the guests or add the dinners or whatever.
Yep.
But a more simplified version, obviously, it needs to be designed in a way where we can move quickly, get people through the line for who.
I think that's very. I think you're right. The requirements, I mean, do you remember the email I sent you the other day with kind of the requirements in there?
Yeah, I have a copy of that.
Okay,
Yeah,
Randy,
and I foresee that everybody is going to have a badge if they're going to be on the showroom floor. So I would think by the number of badges that we print for everybody showing up, that would be a good number.
Yeah,
So I would think everybody would need to have a badge on the floor.
Yeah, and I'd like the opportunity to ask them if they want to become a member, or at least tell them that they can come back, and if they enjoyed the show, they can come back and become a member and whatnot. So,
That's great.
I really do think we need to have that process.
That's fine.
I feel that Bob Spoger here. I really feel you ought to check them in as we have in the past as a non-paid member, and because Randy's all set up to handle that situation, as is Rich. That if we can just get their name and their email address, that's all we need, and it'd show that they didn't pay, and we'll know what they were there for.
Right.
So,
right, and that is the minimum, Bob. So that's even in my system. So yeah.
So I don't think there's any question about that. It's just a matter of how to do it so it's efficient, so that folks can get into the show as quickly as possible. Or
Right.
conversely, there's not a big lineup of people waiting to get in to the fest. I guess, what is the question that you're asking?
Well, a couple questions. Like, I mean, let me give you an example. We have one credit card machine, so
Yep.
maybe we have somebody running the credit card and then returning those receipts so that we can enter it into the screens. We can have multiple
Okay.
people actually checking people in because Tandy List is obviously multitasking, so we can have that page up on several computers. We need to make
Right.
sure that we have the computers that are there at the table so they can all connect. I mean, they don't need it. There's hardly any requirements. They just got to get on the internet.
Yeah.
So I mean, just working it out, talking it out, who's going to do what, and then so that we're not running around and then
Right.
also Rich might want to have some input as I build this screen. You know, he might have some feedback because he's done this so many years. He knows exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Eric?
So, yeah, we are planning on giving people an incentive to check in by printing the badges, putting door prizes, linking those somehow to those badges with a number or something. So we're gonna know who's here, and they'll want to let us know so they can win their prizes and hopefully, sign up for a membership and everything. And then I guess make sure you guys keep me in the loop. I mean, kind of registration is outside of anything I want to worry about, but if it has anything to do with the counting and stuff, let me know because I'll be running the cash box and everything. And then, Randy, you said something about the credit card reader. We don't have a credit card reader linked with PayPal because we need the 501c3 completed before we're going to be approved for that. So
Hold on, I thought we
basically,
did
at this
have
point,
we did have a
can't.
credit card reader.
Last year we had one. It didn't work. We had to take payments via PayPal's website, which was fine. Everybody or check, everybody was able to do that. But this year we need to either plan on another provider where we can take credit cards, or some kind of a way that people can check out through PayPal.
Okay, so I can actually build it into
Yeah.
the check-in screen that would go ahead and talk to PayPal.
Yeah. And we have a
obviously I'm
donate
doing it
button
now.
too. So like we can just point people to the donate button. I get the email immediately so I can cross check that and they're good. They get their receipt. So whatever works.
So it sounds like, I guess the key is though you have good questions, Randy, but I feel like it's really up to you, and it's really Grant and yourself and maybe Rich, whoever's going to be at the table. It's primarily Grant that needs to plan this out. I don't know that it needs to be the full group here to plan out like how the table's going to flow and how many people are going to be there. You guys just come up with something that you think is efficient and gets all the information you need and ends up with a person checked in and having a badge and paid, and we'll, if they're gonna, and we're good.
Yeah, because I foresee that most people
for the cash box.
The people who are going to be coming to the table should hopefully be just people who are walking off the street in Chicago. I'm hoping that majority of everybody will be already pre-registered, so this hopefully shouldn't be that big of an issue.
Well, if they're pre-registered, that's fine, but they'll still have to pick up their badge, so they'll still drop by the table. They just won't spend much time at the table, right? Because you still have to record
we'll just
that
do
they
the same
actually.
thing we did last year. We'll just hand them the envelope and go on their way.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
I would like, I mean, unless you're going to record it later, I'd like if we could look them up and then check a box. Check a box saying that they
check a box somewhere. Yes.
Yeah, check a box saying that they're here. They arrived.
And I would agree. I think they will be visiting the table, and when they visit the table, we do need to record that they actually came, because here's the deal: if they register and they pay or something and then they don't show up, I don't want to record them as attended when they actually didn't. That's unfair to our stats. And the second one is if later on they say I wasn't there and I paid some money and I want it back or something, then we need some way to say, yeah, you actually did not show up, so we'll consider that, as opposed to you did and you paid or whatever, right? And I realize that's not a great example now because it's not necessarily the actual attendance is free, but still, I think there's value in recording that they actually showed up
Oh
when they
yeah,
get
and
their
we should
they
have
get
a
their badge.
webcam that takes a picture of them so we can prove that they're there.
No, I think now you're just going over the deep end. But anyway, Grant, I'd really like that you take this and make this all happen, because I don't think it's something that is a general item. I think it's just something that the coordination needs to take care of.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll just I'll get a time with Richard, Eric, and Randy and myself, and we'll get together and figure it out.
One of the things you may want to do is have I don't know in the past what's been done, but I would suggest that you have a monthly meeting, maybe second week or something of the month from now until, because I noticed the other day there's 3 months, a little less than 3 months until the show. So you might want to have a monthly, or maybe even in the last month, a bi-weekly or weekly meeting to go over like a punch list and stuff like that, where people can join and talk through these things if they're interested. Maybe publish it, and folks can come in and go through these particular items, just so it's already on the calendar.
Okay.
Grant, Bob Swoger here again. May I be invited to those same meetings?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I don't know, man. Bob's going to be trouble. I don't know.
So, but I do want to make sure that the requirements that I put into, because I put in as a requirement, we need to record that the people did, we need to record how many people showed up, and there's some other requirements I put in there. I'd like to make sure those requirements are met, because if we don't, then we're going to miss out on an opportunity to know how well attended the fest was. And also, like you said, Randy, if we don't have an opportunity to interact with people, then that's a missed opportunity to invite them to join the club. So, any other items that people want to know about concerning the fest?
I've got one for Randy.
Yeah.
I noted that you're putting some notes into the Tandy list, and they are set for Fest 2021 instead of 2022. Can you clue me in as to what's going on there? I have not touched any of them. In past years, I have, but because of this issue, I've left it completely alone so I don't screw something up. What's going on there?
Right. The code that added to your field was left in by mistake when I released it, because it's not actually supposed to be including anything in your field anymore. The future of it is that we're using a better way of tracking it through other tables that I'm going to expose to the export, to your export. So during I think the next release after this one is to get the membership in the registration. Then I'm going to be updating the reports, and the reports that you'll download, your notes, you'll end up seeing exactly who's attended what fest and everything. So we're just going to do it a completely different, better way. And the reason it's putting bad data in your field right now was that we did leave. I accidentally left the code in there to add to that field, but that'll be removed.
Okay. Then what I'm saying is I am going to absolutely leave that alone. You'll take care of it.
That's
correct?
right. Yep, I will. Yeah, and this will become clearer. I'm gonna fix these reports, and it'll be a lot clearer for you in the future. I promise.
Okay, fine business.
Okay.
One more for Randy.
Yeah.
Randy, I notice in those codes that sometimes they end in V for vendor or D for dinner. What about when the situation is that they're both? In other words, a vendor wants dinner.
Then it's VD, man.
It's VD? Yeah, but it isn't. You have not put VD up there in any of those.
I'm not sure.
I like the answer,
Yeah.
but okay.
Don't worry about it. I'm recording dinner in a different table that you haven't got to see yet. See, a lot of this will be clearer when I expose these other tables to you. The things you haven't got to see yet because you only see certain things on the membership screen.
Okay, fine business.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Grant?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
I think we might add to the responsibilities of this smaller committee, thinking over the auction to see if there are any improvements that could be made there too. Because we did have a couple of glitches there where one bidder failed to claim his things, and some of the other things we weren't sure who the person was.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I think we actually
feeling there's
worked all the
any-
kinks out on the second day, and I think if compared to the second day issues, I think that went about as good as it could go. I don't know if there could be.
Hey, I was wondering, could we connect somehow somebody's registration to their bidder number, like on Tandy List, so that when they're given a bidder number, we can look them up and type it into Tandy List, and that way we
Yeah,
know who.
I mean,
who
we
has
could use
connected.
Tandy List for the bidding system, but it may be too complicated.
You could figure out a way
Well,
to do it.
I mean, the idea would be that if you're going to give somebody a number, you'd ask them what their name was and look them up, and then type that number in there. That way, you'd have a record. You'd also be able, when you're paying, to be able to track, each member what they ended up paying.
I
This
think
could be valuable data.
I don't think you. So I mean, again, I'm probably breaking my own rule because I think a lot of this probably should just be taken care of by the smaller committee. But it sounds to me like in the last meeting, the January meeting that we talked about, or maybe it was the board of directors meeting, I forget, but one of them we talked about the idea of, when you hand out a card to somebody or hand out a badge to somebody, there's a number that's on the badge already, that's tied to like door prizes and stuff like that. Well, the number's the number's the number. So if it's a number that's on their badge, then you could use that number for their bidder number. Just have them turn over their card and say, well, what's your number on the back of your badge? And so you'd already have that number when you because you'd have it when you registered them, right? Because you'd want that number so that you'd know who, if you say, number 23 has won this gift card, then you'd want to know who number 23 is. So in any event, you've got a number. You don't necessarily need to create another number. It's just recording that number in some way, maybe during registration, that you record that number when you hand out. All the pre-registrations would already have a number, and then the ones that you print that day, you just have to add the number to it. But I do like the idea, anything that can be used to streamline the auction. I will say that there's some things that didn't go exactly perfect on day 2 either. Not in relation to the money and the whatever, but the situation with the AV between the 2 rooms was challenging both days, and so it would be nice to have some other way to do that. I loved the idea of being able to walk around, and that was perfect. I loved that. Randy gave me a tripod and stuff, and that was awesome. But the connectivity or whatever was challenging, and then all of a sudden it'd blank out, or I don't know, but it was very hard to hear what was going on in the other room.
The biggest challenge was the audio in between the rooms, right?
That's right. It was the audio was a challenge 100% of the time, and then as we moved around in the various tables, the video quality suffered at some points, and so that was challenging for the people who were bidding. So both of those items, I think, need a little bit of TLC. It wasn't a huge issue, but it was, since we've got time, it would be nice to resolve the issue. What I came up with that I would be happy to do this time is I have a headphone, kind of like the one I'm wearing right now, but it's smaller, which is right here, which whoever is doing it probably will be Grant, but whoever is doing the kind of showing the items, whoever the Vanna White character is, right, in this whole thing, they could have this on and have their phone connected to Zoom so they could be hearing the whatever's going on through their headset. The problem we had in the fall when we did this was that if the video was loud or the audio was loud enough for us to hear, then it bled through into the microphone and caused problems. So some way of addressing that would be nice, because I think there was a lot of chatter about how it was challenging, and it was the best that we were able to do at the show. So I do think, Rich, you're right that, but at the very least, if everything we did on Sunday was good, then we should document what it was so we do it again the same way. So Grant, I think that's yours to take, right?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
We'll have a little powwow here in a couple weeks. We'll get this all ironed out.
That's fine.
Are you going to come to that too, Jim?
I think I feel like I should step out of that and let you guys just come up with something. I've already got some other things going on, and I really need to get the bylaw group going again so that we can finish some of those pieces up. So I think unless you guys need me for a specific question, I think I'm gonna pass. I'll let you guys come up with whatever's planned, and just, you're the coordinator, so go coordinate.
All right, I just want to make sure I got Richard, Randy, myself, and Eric. Is there anybody else who needs? Oh, and I'm sorry, Bob Swoger.
Well, you might want to post on Facebook and the website just to ask for additional folks if they're interested, and then see what response you get, if any.
Okay.
Bob, are you able to mute your microphone? Okay, you got it.
Well, I muted him.
Thank you.
Okay, so just a quick item, and I think I reported this to the board at our recent board meeting, but the day after the meeting last month, where I was commenting to Rich that I hadn't yet heard from the IRS, Peggy from the IRS called me back and gave me some instructions on what I needed to do about incorporation amendment. And so I have filed the amendment of incorporation with the state of Illinois. I'm sure it's going to take a long time, but she indicated that they just needed to know that it had been filed, even though their document kind of says otherwise. She said that's good enough. So we filed it, and we returned the information saying we had filed it. So the only thing that I need to reconcile, and I'll get with you, Eric, is that I have like a $25 fee that I needed to pay in order to do the filing with the state of Illinois. So I wrote a personal check for it, so I need reimbursement for that. And then the initial batch of stuff I sent to them, I had to fax it, and I don't have a fax machine here anymore.
Of course.
I know I have a ton of retro equipment, but a fax machine is not one of them. So I had to go to somewhere in town, which was quite an arduous process in order to fax this thing, and it ended up costing me like, I don't know, $17 or something like that. So I have some small charges that need to be taken care of at some point. But as far as I know, everything that we need to do has been done. Huh?
I think that's going to require a motion. So shall we move to reimburse you for any IRS fees?
I second.
That's fine.
I second it.
Okay. Let me just 1 second here. I want to be sensitive to like what it is that you're reimbursing. So,
and it'll be in the minutes for the today's meeting.
Yeah, I believe it was 27 pages, and I believe they were. Seems like it was 60 cents a page, so it won't be any more than $20 for the fax, but I got to look at my credit card receipt for that, and then it was $25 for the filing to the state of Illinois. So I'll get you the exact number, but it would be no more than $45.
All right, then I'd so move to reimburse.
Okay. And I think Bob seconded. So any questions or concerns? Okay.
Come to a vote.
Vote to approve.
Aye.
Approve.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Let's see. Oh, I should give, as part of old business, we had a pretty short board of directors meeting earlier this month. Just to give a quick readout, we talked about the 501c3. We talked a little bit about Cocoa Fest. I'm open to other officers to provide whatever commentary they wanted. It was relatively short meeting, but we have one every quarter. Is there anything I am forgetting that we talked about at the board meeting? Eric?
We did. We did mention why we've lost one of. Why does it say Margaret Cyber? Good grief!
Yeah.
One of his
Rich.
helpers. One of his helpers was Frank Piddle, and it came up at that meeting that he had had a stroke, and that
Right.
it was worse than he had thought, and that's why I threw my name and Grant Lighty for helping out. I thought maybe I could compensate if I'm still alive at any time. So end of message. Back to you.
Okay. Anything else that I forgot? Like I said, it was a relatively small meeting. So John, Mark, Eric, Randy, Brian. Actually, Eric, I think I can't hear you if you're saying anything.
Oh, I said I can't
saying
remember
nothing.
anything.
Okay. And Brian, were you at the board of directors meeting? Brian
I
Goers?
think I was, yeah.
Okay, because we probably ought to put a comments or minutes in there's a place for the minutes in the board of directors directory.
I noticed there's a BOD in the directory.
Anyway, as always, if you have questions that the board needs to take up, I'm happy to bring those in front of the board. We do have meetings quarterly, and they are on the calendar. They're not open to everybody. They're just open to the board members, which is our directors and our officers. But they are done quarterly. So if you have something that you want the board to take up, just let me know before one of those meetings, and I'll put it on the board agenda. I think the only new business I have right now that I've been made aware of is we really are in need of a newsletter. I know we talked last month, and there's not been anybody that's kind of come forward and volunteered. I was hoping that I was going to talk to one individual, and I've been lax in getting a hold of them. But beyond the one individual, I would ask that we put some, maybe folks can send me some names of folks who might be interested in helping with the newsletter, even if it's a team of folks to collectively take care of it. I'm going to try to get the fall newsletter, which is woefully behind, sent out. It's done. It just needs to be sent to everybody. But beyond that, we do need someone to pick up the newsletter duties going forward. So I would ask again if anybody has folks that they think might be interested or could reach out to folks and see if there's any interest. It would be great to give me the name so that I can reach out to them.
Jim, where does the newsletter that has to go out now? Where is it lying right now? Where is it?
It is in the Google Drive under the newsletters directory.
I don't think I can get that. Can somebody simply email me its link address on our Glenside website?
Well, it's not been published yet, so it's not on the website yet. But I'm going to put it there as soon as I can get a moment to do so.
Okay.
But once I do, I will send you a link.
Okay, and I will then take that link email it to everybody who should be getting that link so I can take care of the mailing part for you. Okay?
Okay, well that actually happens as part of moving the file up there, so you should get a link to the newsletter as part of the mailing that's going to come to you. But let's check and see if that happens. If it doesn't, then yes, definitely it'd be nice to have that taken care of.
What I'm saying is I will be the person that mails it, not the chimp. I will be doing it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Not the chimp.
Any other new business?
I wanted to possibly put a committee together to better invest our excessive funds. I would like to, as a goal for the club, possibly pay, say fund the club off of the interest of our savings, so that we can continue to run even in years where our membership dwindles, or we can't have a Cocoa Fest, or maybe we can run the club indefinitely. Right now, we have a balance of around $12,000 that is liquid, but probably doesn't really need to be too much. Maybe 10,000, where we don't really need to have it immediately available. And since we don't have,
I believe the rules say that we cannot have such an account that makes money. Even the banks know that. They won't let us have one.
No, that's not true. 60% of nonprofits invest in various funds and things. Nonprofits often have a trust set aside to run their operations day to day. The trust usually is where you store your the money that, and then the interest off of that money runs the day to day operations. That's the case in a lot of churches and most nonprofits. Like, let's say, for example, somebody bequeaths us a large sum after they pass away, and they want us to keep that money set aside and use the interest for certain projects. Well, we can do that. As a nonprofit, we can put that money aside. We can invest it in whatever way they wish, or we wish, or whatever, and then use the interest off of that money to run our operation. So I would like to set up a committee to both investigate that, maybe come up with some documents that says, what we're going to do with the money, how we're going to invest it, why we're going to invest it, what, every detail about it. And then, if we like how that's going, we could, after that, determine what exactly to invest in. Should it be some funds? Should it be just our money market account? Like, how do we want to spend our money?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin,
okay.
Yeah, lots of Bitcoin.
Or even Bitcoin. I mean, that is an option. I would strongly recommend not doing a whole lot of Bitcoin.
Bob, you had something you were going to say?
Ethereum, fine.
I've never heard with the other groups I've been in, so I'm going to back out. I think Eric's more up to date on this than I could possibly be.
Okay.
So I'll back out of that.
Okay. Well, I don't see a problem with having committee. It sounds like something that we should, move and get set up. So happy to entertain a motion for such a committee.
Is there anybody who'd be interested in helping me draft up a document or two on what our options might be?
Looks like Rich is reaching for the unmute button. Maybe not.
Yes. It seems to me this might be a topic better handled on a board of directors meeting rather than a general membership.
Yeah.
Although after the board of directors have huddled, they may then present a proposal to the general membership in the next meeting if they come up with something they want to get passed. Because it would be good to run it by people, but I think they can do the initial planning.
I think the issue is that our board of directors, and I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that we may not have enough knowledge. I think we should probably form a committee of people who maybe have some experience with accounting, have some experience with savings, funds accounts, things like that, and then we can determine, which direction. Because I mean, I know very little myself, so I think it'd be good to have some people to help.
Well, and the committee is not. We're not. I mean, what I thought you were saying, and maybe I'm wrong, but what I got the impression is you were saying I'd like to get together a group of people that know about these types of things or want to know about these types of things to come up with a proposal for
Right.
how we might invest the funds, and then that proposal and the kind of the how we would use it, I guess, is something that we'd need to bring probably first to the board, make sure that it's something that the board's okay with moving forward on, and if so, then bring it forward to the general public or the general membership to vote on, like, do you or do you not want to do this? So, Rich, would that satisfy your criteria? Okay. So I think the committee sounds great. It's just I don't know who you want to have in it. I guess you'll have to solicit for some folks to join.
Okay.
Maybe that should go on the website and the Facebook group or whatever, so that in the Cocoa list thing, so that maybe set up a meeting.
Yeah, as long as we're kind of on board with this idea, I'll go solicit for.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, I guess the only question I have is, are committees something that we can just stand up, or do we have to actually officially move to have a committee? Because the committee is not doing any. I mean, the committee's not. What the committee decides to do is not a decision. It's just a proposal, right? It still has to be voted in.
I mean, in my opinion, if we wanted to give the committee some power, we may have to move for such a thing. But if they're just talking, I don't think it's a big deal.
So my view is go forth, put the committee together and provide a proposal. And the next board meeting's in 3 months, so let's get something that we can maybe use that as a deadline to come up with a plan, and then propose it at that board meeting, and then hopefully the general business meeting that happens immediately following. Okay.
Keep an eye out then. If you're interested, get a hold of me.
Okay.
Jim, I've got one for you here in closing. You recently sent me an email that was apparently forwarded from MailChimp. Once again, a guy wants to drop out of our membership. And the first thing I notice is this person is not in our membership. I have no record of that person at all. So what do you do about that?
Well, we've got so I did the one-way match the other day. I've been remiss on keeping the list synchronized, but it appears as though somebody subscribed through MailChimp and didn't put their information into TandyList, and then eventually decided to not be a part of the distribution, but we had no record of them in TandyList. So the other day, prior to sending out the meeting notice, I cleaned up the list the one way. So I added, there was like 33 people who were in TandyList that were not in the email distribution system, and so I updated those names so that they were all there. However, I have not done the other half of it, which is to make sure that people who have joined from MailChimp are recorded in TandyList. So I'll try and do that. Try and do it next week. And I'll send you the names of the people who are currently subscribed, and we don't currently have a record for them in TandyList. And then I'll send it to you and Randy, and you guys can decide how we want to do it. At some point, we really need to get these two things. We need to get something done so that they don't just continue to get out of sync, because it seems like every so many months I've got to resynchronize them, and it's a kind of an arduous process to do so.
Well, you send me that list of people who should be recorded in Tandy list, and I will personally fix it so that
Okay, appreciate
they're
it.
there hereafter.
We'll do that. Okay. Any other new business? Okay. Well, just a note, it's less than 3 months away to Cocoa Fest, so I think things should be in earnest. About the only thing I'm really concerned about right now is, I think, donations, because we know this is a short year. So I would ask everybody to solicit for donations. I know there was some stuff on the Cocoa mailing list the other day that looks like it might be an opportunity for some donation, and I know there's some stuff that folks have already planned, and we do have some pieces in there. And by no means do we need to have hours and hours and hours of stuff to auction off, but it would be nice to have a reasonably good showing for the show. So keep that in mind if you're looking through your stash, and if folks are asking, we'd love to have donations.
And no PCs.
If they're, I'll be bidding on PCs if they're 90s, early 2000s. I'm into that.
I'll let you guys sort that out.
No
Sinclairs.
No Sinclairs.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, no
Well, see
Sinclair.
now, Bob's gonna get mad at you. He likes.
I
his
know.
Sinclairs.
I'm poking at the Bob.
That's right. Okay, well, motion to end the meeting would be welcomed.
I move we close the meeting.
And
Go
I
ahead,
will
Bob
second.
Goers.
Second.
And Grant seconded. Actually, more than one person seconded, but I heard Grant first. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Well, 8:38. We did pretty good tonight. Only an hour, a little over an hour.
Okay, I do see a new name up there. Albert, not a member, but he's been visiting us here this whole evening.